What's the normal answer to that?
Okay, so what made you decide like you needed coaching? What do you want to work on today specifically, if anything comes to mind? That kind of stuff.
Okay.
Looks like you play a lot of support.
Okay.
It's interesting.
Yeah. So, well, I play support when I'm like too tilted to play ADC.
Oh no shit.
So I watched like a couple of your coaching videos, and I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm gonna try like having a plan and like whatever, and I'm gonna play some games, and when I lose one, I'm gonna ask for coaching. So I lost this one. So I figured,
Ooh.
yeah. So I mean, obviously I'm not like great at it. So, but this is like the game where I actually like had my brain turned on like a little bit more than usual. So, and then, okay, and the thing I think I'm worst at is team fighting. Like, I hate team fighting so much that, like, sometimes I'll just split
Interesting.
push. Sometimes I like split push even like when it's a bad idea. And like, I hate it so much that like I might not even click on the mini map to see what's happening because I'm scared that I'll have to go do it.
Is it like you hate team fighting because you like end up dying a lot, or like what?
I hate it. Well, so normally what happens was like originally I died a lot and then I was like, okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna like play like super safe until like something crazy happens, like somebody hits a hook or somebody like dives into five of us and then I'll start attacking them. Or well basically it's like I have to keep track of 25, like especially late game. Maybe it's just like I remember the late games once, but I'll be like I have to remember like 25 abilities that will like somehow cause me to die. 26 if Bard is on my team, things like that.
Very true, very true. I see, I see. Okay, we'll see. I assume there's some team fighting in this game, right? I'm sure we'll
Yeah.
we'll, we'll get to that. But first, let's take a look at the laning phase, right? So in this lane, how do you think you win lane, right? What's your goal in this lane?
So I think my goal was just to like do damage to them when it's free and not take damage. And then just like sort of like I was sort of hoping like maybe I'll be more useful to my team than Jinx because of all my the useful abilities.
So do you want to like push this lane? Do you want to trade? Do you want to set up ganks? Like how do you want this lane to play out? Like ideally speaking.
So I think my plan was just hopefully wait for Blitzcrank to hit a hook and then like go crazy. But usually it's like push for level two. It's kind of weird because Blitzcrank decided to back, so I wasn't really like if I push for level two, I don't really get it anyway. But
Yeah, it's kind of weird
yeah,
because your support is not here. So I guess you kind of don't get to get level two, but yeah, the general idea from what I can tell is that you do want to push this lane, right? You want to push this lane and bait out gigs, bait out jungle pressure. It's like Thresh is strong. Thresh is strong in lane, right? Wow, holy shit, stereo hook. Good punish, good punish. But Thresh is strong in lane, right? But Kha'Zix is not the best ganker, right? Pre six, and neither is Jinx. Jinx has really good follow up though if you get like hooked, right? So if you get ganked, Thresh is gonna flay you, and then he's gonna go for a hook, and then you flash the hook, and then you've absorbed jungle gank. So that's really good. The idea behind this Ashe Blitz lane is that you want to push, absorb jungle pressure as much as you can, and then at level 6, you're like, oh, slow push, right? Which is just last hitting. And then when Lee Sin is around, you arrow Thresh, and then Blitz hooks him, right? And then that's how you guys win. Right? That's the kind of idea behind this like lane setup. So this pushing here is like really good, right? That's exactly what you want to do. But maybe you want to take E level 2, right?
okay,
And the reason why you want to do that is because you want to spot the enemy. You want to spot the enemy jungler as soon as possible, right? There's almost never a circumstance where you use Q level 2, right? Does that make sense, right? Like
so
when
it's like
would they?
even
When would like you ever need? You basically never need Q level 2 unless you're actually like in the middle of a fight and then you hit level 2 and then you skill it up and then you continue fighting, right? That's like the only time I can think of you would ever get Q level 2. Like it's very rare for a situation to occur that you're like, oh, I need Q level 2 because we're about to fight. Like maybe like a level 1 invade. They had like a level 1 invade that went wrong. They lost their flash, and your blitz still has flash, so you're gonna force level 2. That's the plan. Then you scale it up, right? But usually speaking, you don't want to take it. But that's probably not that important because this so far so good, right? You got really good damage off. You're pushing. You saw Kha'Zix, so you shouldn't be afraid of any kind of gank, right? If you can hit this guy for free, you can hit this guy for free. As long as you don't get hooked, you like pretty much can't lose. Okay, so this is like really good poke. So far so good. Even started with the greedy call start.
So it's like, I mean, there's like two places in this game where I sort of like cheat in that way. I'm like, I know I'm in silver, right? So like they're not gonna freeze against me, and they're probably not gonna kill me, so I can start call. This is sort of cheating, I guess.
Oh, what the hell is that hook? You see this? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I think he thought I was gonna kill it.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna hit a ranger minion anyways. Interesting stuff. So yeah, definitely don't do anything proactive until it's up. You're saying you think mid's missing. One thing to note is that if you can, what's it called? Oh, okay, he missed another one. That was really close though. Don't be scared of getting ganked when you have both sums up. Okay, so this is like a general rule, right? So in League of Legends, you want to be ganked. True or false?
True, I guess.
Right, you want to absorb jungle pressure is the idea, right? Is if you can get ganked and not die, you're winning the game for your team, right? And this is only you only want to do this when your jungler is alive, right? There's no point in like doing it when your jungler is dead, because then it's like he's dead, he can't do anything. But if he's alive, he's gonna go farm, he's gonna go invade, he's gonna go counter invade, he's gonna take objectives, he's gonna do something when the enemy does a failed gank, right? So when you see Kha'Zix die here, it's like really good. But whenever you have sums up and you're afraid of like a gank, don't worry about them, right? Anivia's not gonna roam, right? Anivia's really slow. If you're worried about mid roams, worry about like Talon, Katarina, LeBlanc, any of that kind of crap. But anyone who's like a super slow control mage, you have a lot of time before they get to your lane, and then when you see them, you can like walk away, right? There's like nothing they can do to stop you from walking away, right? So Thresh is gonna flash flay when you see Anivia, and you flash his hook, Anivia's wasted your time, right? Does that sound about right?
Okay.
There's basically nothing they can do. If there's nothing they can do to like guarantee your death, you should pressure as much as you can. Yeah, push them into tower, hit them when you can. They can't kill you. You should know that you cannot die, right? And then there are certain exceptions to this rule, right? So if they have like Callisto Thresh plus Elise, that's like you can die even with like flash and full HP. So that's when you're like, oh, I should be scared. But this lane, not so much. Okay, so you just got a damage control here. This guy is like getting caught. This is really good. This is a really good counter. Like stepping on the trap is kind of awkward, but that's fine. In essence, that was the right thing to do, right? Your blitz kind of got caught, so you go for the AD carry. That's really good. Oh, here you go. This Lee Sin wants to gank. This could go well, maybe. If we like land a hook here. If you go for a trade here, they're gonna get baited. So okay, this is good. Just flash.
Yeah, so I definitely remember thinking I'm going to intentionally get hooked here.
All right, that's good. That's good. And then
I think, yeah, I thought that Kha'Zix had flash, so he just
okay,
like
yeah.
flash
If you
on it or
thought,
something.
yeah, if you thought Kha'Zix has a flash, then don't risk it, right? So that was good, clean. That was good, right? It was very good. It was good outcome, right? Maybe getting hooked when you're that low could be scary, right? Because they have ignite. Do they have ignite?
I think they didn't, right?
Right.
I don't remember. It was
What
like
does he have?
2 days
It's not
ago.
ignite. What the heck? But yeah, you can always do something like since you know you're gonna flash anyways, you can do something like flash the hook, right? And it'll be like similar result. Should be similar result. But
So if I
this is good.
flashed the hook, I probably would have flashed forward, right?
yeah,
Towards
yeah.
Jinx, right?
Just
But then it would've
flash
definitely-
within auto range. It's like
Then I
super
would
awkward.
definitely,
Sorry, what are you saying?
I would have
Oh,
definitely gotten killed by Kazakhstan, right? If I had done that.
if you flash the hook?
If I flashed the hook towards Jinx.
No. Flash. So the way you want this gang to work is that in Thresh lanes you aim Thresh, right? Why is
Okay,
that?
right?
No.
Because he
Why
has
is
his
that?
lantern.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so in Callista lanes you always aim Callista, right? Because
She has her ultimate.
exactly. So if you know you're gonna aim Thresh, you don't worry about Jinx, right? Unless Jinx is like killing people, then you're like, oh, we have to kill her first. But when you're going for this kind of gank, everyone aims Thresh, and you know this is gonna work because he has like low HP, right? So if you slow him, Blitz is gonna land the hook, hopefully, right? Hopefully. Um. So yeah, that's why you aim Thresh. So you don't aim Jinx in this case, and it's like getting hooked like meant you took like a lot of damage, right? I felt like
I
I should have
think,
killed you, but
I think
honestly,
yeah, I
it's
took
like
like,
fine. It's the way you played is fine. Like we don't have to nitpick. That was good,
thank
but you
you.
should. I think you should reset here. Oh, you. This is kind of awkward.
These are the two things where like I thought they had flash there, like somebody was gonna flash and kill me. And secondly, like I think this was the point where I sort of like cheated and I was like, they're not gonna freeze it, like fuck it all back, right?
So do you back here?
I think I
Okay, so
try
you
and push
cleared and
one
then
more.
backed. I see. One thing you can do is that when this kind of situation occurs, um, you can actually just back immediately, right?
Okay.
Like, right?
But
No.
that's
Like, why do I say
only
that?
is that only because of the cannon?
It's no. It doesn't have to be a cannon wave, but if this minion wave is pushing into you, right? So say everyone gets deleted from the game, right? And you watch these minions for the next minute, it's gonna push into your lane, right? So if you
Okay.
back and come back into lane, it's gonna be frozen right outside your tower with like a bunch of minions. So they will have lost a bunch of minions in XP, right? So if they can't push for whatever reason, because Jinx lost her support, then you can walk out of vision range and start recalling, right? Um, so that's like one alternative uh, option that you have. That's like really good. That's probably your strongest option. But I think clearing and backing is okay. But that's just like something to keep in mind, right? If
Right.
you can back immediately and it's gonna push into your tower, that's always a great option. So do you know how to tell when minions are pushing into your tower? Like if
Like
left alone.
I think there's like four minions or something, four extras or something.
So let's take a look at this. I'm gonna open this up. Give me this. Yes. Okay, so you can see this Rift Kit thing, right?
Right.
Can I move this? Okay, so right down the middle, that's where the minions usually meet, right? When the wave gets reset. Can I draw? Okay, yeah, here. So it's kind of off, but if this is you guys, right, and this is the enemy, if they have one extra caster minion, right, they're gonna push in at this line, right? One extra minion. If they're at this line, it's gonna be two extra minions. This is 3 minions. This is 4 minions. This is 5 minions. This is like a rough approximation, but this is how many minions more that they need in order to have a push into you while you back, right? It's gonna push into you if no one touches the minion waves, it's gonna push into you. So it's gonna be 1 here, 2 extra here, 3 extra here, 4 extra here, 5 extra here. So keep that in mind when like after something has happened, right? After people have died, after people are backing, any kind of like stuff like that happens, and then you like quickly take a look at what you want to do. Do you want to back immediately? Do you want to clear like 2 minions and back, or do you want to push and then back, right? So that's how you
Okay.
know when it's gonna push into you, guaranteed. Looks like you're going like an Essence Weaver build or Infinity.
Yeah, Essence Weaver.
Okay.
So is Infinite like I always thought like with Ashe it's like I don't really do like like if I wanted to do damage I'd pick like Caitlyn or something, right? So or-
I think that Ashe has decent damage, but it's more about her ultimate, right? Until you get like a bunch of items.
Right. So it's like, does it make sense to ever go Infinity Edge, or is it like,
Honestly, any of the Ash builds are like usually fine, right? But the one that I've seen is like Fervor with the attack speed kind of stuff that's going on. So,
yeah?
but I think Essence is fine, right? I don't really see too many issues with the build. But yeah, it's your okay. So wait, sorry, I wasn't paying attention. But now the mindset is, you want to play safe, right? Because you have no flash, and then wait for a blitz hook, right? But the big setup is the arrow into hook, right? Oh, your Lee is not level 6 yet, but yeah, the big setup is arrow into hook.
So I just hawk shot and I see that his buff is gone, right? Does that mean that he's not going to be around bot?
So if
Like,
you
is that
hawk
safe to
shot
say?
into like
Uh,
his bot side jungle and you see it's not there, then all you know is that the red is gone and he's not there. So he could have been at Golems, he could have been in the river camp, he could have been doing wolves and Gromp. Um, it's better to hawk shot like the end camps, right? The buffs, if you hawk shot like red and the Gromp, then you know like where he is. You're like, oh, he's not doing camps, he must be in the river or something like that, right? In this case, you can't tell really where he is, right? He's probably in the topside jungle, but you can't say for certain. So just like
okay.
things to consider, like Ashe specifically is hawkshotting the end camps where junglers start their roots from is like really strong, and the buffs as well, right? But that's just usually like oh, and like when in doubt you save it, right? Because now you can't tell if they're doing dragon or whatever. So you have to be super scared. So I would actually recommend against pushing unless you have your jungler near you, right? Because then you can say, oh, if Kha'Zix is coming for a gank, we also have a Lee Sin. So since they're chasing, we're gonna win 3v3. That would be a valid, a valid reason to push and not be afraid of a gank. But if you push and then they freeze and Kha'Zix is here, then you're like super sad, right? Because then you're just gonna get flayed and then sad things happen. But you saw Kha'Zix in over there. Oh my god, let's go. Oh, this is free. Oh my god, very clean. Dude, this is really good. That was really good.
Thank you.
You didn't have to kill them there, right? You can say, oh, maybe you should play more greedy and save your arrow, but that was really good. That was the right idea, right? I'm no, that was really good. Oh my god, he's going for another one. Whoo! Whoo! Holy shit! This guy's on fire. Just kill this guy. No! Not like this. Okay, it's fine. Missing kills is okay. But
Was there a way to do it? Like, I
yeah, you
think,
saw
does
that
she
attack him,
have,
right? You press heal,
does
you
she
press
have,
Q, he's dead. Because you saw him, he has no outs, right? You saw him flash with the last hook, and you saw him use heal in this one, right? So,
just
he's
heal
dead.
and the lantern? So it's gonna take two autos to kill him, right?
Yeah, it's free. Then you would have gotten him for sure, right? Another thing you can do is like, another thinking exercise you can do is what is gonna happen after he hooks, right? Thresher's gonna aim you, so put blitz between you and Thresher or something like that. But honestly, this is good, right? This is good. We don't nitpick. We don't need to nitpick yet, right? Yeah. Now you definitely push them in because there's no way they can fight with 10 HP Jinx.
So this isn't like, I wouldn't freeze it against them. Like, even if I could
Yeah.
freeze it, I wouldn't freeze
No.
it
You don't.
against
You don't
them.
freeze this. You don't freeze this. You pressure the tower, right? You want to pressure them. When you can pressure, you pressure because that's like helping your team. That's helping you win the game, right? Hitting this tower is good. Maybe you say, oh, we need to play super safe because their jungler is like 10-0. Then you back here, but here this is good, right? Doing tower damage is really good. One thing to note is when you're doing tower damage, is don't hit the minions, unless you need to last hit it. That's
So do
important
you know if
because
it's, I was thinking like I'd last hit it, so I'd stack my Q and then
I
hit
mean
the
that's
tower.
good too. That's good too. But like usually you don't hit minions, right?
But
Um,
is that correct with Ashe, or is that just like I should still hit the tower,
at
even?
this stage of the game, I would say not really because you need your mana for your ultimate, in case something happens in 20 seconds, right? And basically just hit the tower, right? Um, it's like stacking auto attacks for your Q is like good in certain situations, Um, but like you can't go wrong with just hitting the tower, is what I'm trying to say. So it can be a mistake to stack for Q, but it's like pretty much can't be a mistake to just hit the tower. Um, so yeah, and it looks like you guys are going bot again. Uh, okay, I think that's fine, right? Top is kind of like, your Singe is already winning top. You don't want to like mess with that if he can just keep killing Kled. You don't want to go mid. If Vigar wants to be mid, actually Vigar is like getting boned, so maybe you want to go mid here, right? Do you know anything about like the lane assignments for after like towers go down and stuff?
A little bit. I only know that you send your teleport to like the opposite side of whatever objective's up.
Yeah. That's a good one. For lane assignments, basically you either go after the bot tower goes down, you can go bot, mid, or top, right? And if you have like an assassin, you want to send them in a side lane. So you don't have an assassin in this case. And if your team is like struggling super hard, you maybe want to swap with them, right? So Veigar's struggling super hard, so I'm thinking maybe you want to swap with him and have arrow pressure on Anivia, right? You don't want to be bot here. It's like what can you accomplish? You want to win 2v2, right? But people are like dying. People are randomly dying. I don't know. Someone like Lee Sin died at Dragon, and then your Veigar died mid. It's hard to do stuff.
So
Maybe you
if
do
I
want to
did
stay
go, if I went mid and like I was somehow able to convince Vigar to go bot, like wouldn't he just get killed? Like if
Well,
he's
didn't
dying
he
to
just die
Anivia,
mid? Didn't he just die mid anyways?
yeah.
He died 4 times mid. So him dying bot is less of a concern than losing all control mid, in my opinion. Because while you guys may be winning bot, it's not like easy win kill pressure on them, right? I mean, it should be easy kill pressure because you have an arrow and a hook, but it's like hard to land arrow against Anivia. It's like a lot easier, right? All we have to do is just like watch Blitz like flash fist him and then you arrow, right? That's like a lot easier. Or Lee Sin can like insec, hopefully.
Okay.
So
Oh
yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. So basically, he's gonna die. He's gonna die somewhere. We'd rather it be bot.
Maybe he won't die bot is the idea, but he's probably gonna die mid. It's just like it's kind of bad because you also don't want to give Jinx kills if you know he's just like super feeding. But I don't know. It's just like go where you will have the most positive impact, right?
It's like, how do I like? I don't know if I'm smart enough to figure out where I'm gonna have the most positive impact. Like how
So
to,
think about your like champion strengths. So as Ashe, what do you think is Ashe's like biggest strength?
I think it's her ultimate, right?
Right. So her ultimate is her biggest strength. So where can you go to make the best use of her ultimate? Like who can you hit and it'll kill? Out of all their champions, is there a scoreboard shown somewhere?
I'll probably do it eventually. Not when I'm fighting.
Out of all the champions, if you hit someone, who dies? Right? Kled,
Would
Lee
it,
Sin, Anivia, Jinx, Thresh.
they're going to be Jinx because Anivia has her egg.
Right? Jinx dies. Right? Who else?
I feel like nobody else would die, right? She'd get her egg thingy and then like someone would
Hint.
kill us.
It's all of them. All of them except for Kled. Right? Because if you hit Anivia, basically the idea is you're gonna arrow and then hook, right? Or arrow and then Lee Sin, or arrow and then Veigar stun, right? Any of these things is like free. So if you hit any of those 4 champions and then they get hooked, they're all dead, right? Almost like 9 times out of 10, they should all die. But if you have no arrow, you shouldn't do anything, right? So this is a really good arrow back here, because this dude should have just hooked his ass, right? I don't know what he was doing, but that didn't make any sense. But yeah, that's not your fault. That was a good arrow. But now that you don't have arrow, you should play conservative, right? So yes, you want to push this lane, you want to clear this out, but you can't hit Anivia. Why?
Because she'll wall me.
Yeah, there's literally nothing you can do. You're gonna look to right click or she walks away, right? There's nothing you can do. You need arrow if you want to do anything, right? So when you're, no matter what champion you're playing, if you're like the reason why you're strong is like on cooldown, right? So for Kog'Maw, if his W's on cooldown, you don't do anything. If Ashe, you have no ultimate, you don't do anything, right? If you're playing Varus, you have no cooldowns, you don't do anything, right? So if you're playing Ashe, you have no ultimate, you can't do anything, right? Because this is just gonna happen. There's nothing you can do, right? If you like pause right here and you say you're fake, you somehow Faker sits in your seat at this exact moment, he's just gonna walk away, right? He can't do anything. There's nothing you can do in this situation. So basically, league is about like putting yourself in situations where you can't lose and avoiding situations where you always lose, right? Putting yourself in situations where you always win and avoiding auto loss situations. So yeah, here I think you might want to stay, but actually no, you can buy. That's fine. If you can buy your essence, that's fine. But yeah, you go mid unless Veigar really doesn't want to go bot. Oh baby, what's going on? Oh shit, what am I watching? Okay, so how do we know that they lose this fight?
Is it because they have more people? I can't count.
They have more people because you have 2 people in base, right? So they're not gonna win, right? The worst case scenario is that you go even, theoretically speaking. So it looks like you guys are gonna go even, or maybe Sindra's just running this bird down. Who knows? Jesus Christ. Okay, you guys should have lost that, but okay, I don't know what's going on. He's getting free kills. It's good. You followed up. Okay, that's good. And then you go bot. Sure. All right. Interesting stuff is going on in this game, but you did the right thing. So far, so good in this game, I would say. Beyond like a few missed kills and maybe trying to find Nivea mid when you shouldn't. So far, so good, right? It's pretty clean from what I'm seeing.
So where? Oh, thank you. Where should I have been instead of going mid for Nivea again?
For instead of like trying to hit a Nivea when you didn't have arrows, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Like what are your other options? Wave clear, right? Wave clear and go ward. If she lets you push first, that's great because she shouldn't let you push first, right? Basically you want to wait until you have your ultimate. So sit at your tower, wave clear, wait until an opportunity arrives, right?
Okay.
Because you know that if you go anywhere, she's gonna wall you, right? So stay away from her until you have arrow. Then when she goes to wall you and you have arrow, you arrow her in the face and then blitz hooks, right? That's the reason why we wait for our arrow. Like here, you're gonna sit right here and look for an arrow, but your team is backing or something, so you don't want to do that. Sorry. So here in this case, you have arrow, but you have no teammate, so you have to wait until your team comes back and then you look to arrow in the face, right? So this guy better back. I don't know what he's doing. Kind of hindering the team by doing golems. Okay, interesting. So yeah, whenever you're not ready to do stuff, you want to clear waves and put down wards, right? And then when you are ready to do stuff, you push first and then you look for something, right? So you push first, go into the jungle, push first, go into the river, push first, hide in a bush and look to arrow, you know, that kind of stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. So that should be your general mindset here. So here I would be like, okay, we're waiting for Veigar. I'm gonna clear this wave. I'm gonna play super safe. We don't want to fight, right? I'm gonna clear this wave. They try and fight me. I'm gonna run away. That's the mindset. And then if they try and fight you and you leave, that's good. But if you try and fight and they try and fight and you fight, that's like not good, right? Because you don't have a person. People are coming though, so it's about to get spicy, right? Oh, this guy's getting baited. Okay, so this looks good. No, Nivea backed off. That's fine. Here you can push first. So this is the moment when you can actually do something beyond that thresh arrow, right? Because if what makes you strong is not up, you have to wait for your team to do something, right? Like a random blitz hook. Okay, yeah. So one thing to note is that if nothing is happening, right? This is like considered nothing happening, right?
Okay.
Because like, what can you do? What is a consistent play that's gonna work here?
I don't know.
Right, I don't know either. So if you don't know, wave clear. If you don't know, wave clear, because you're losing minions mid. And as the AD carry, money is like very important. If you can't help your team, you want to get money, right? So there's nothing happening here. This guy shouldn't be doing this because if a fight breaks out, he's gonna lose. You have no Lee Sin, right? So he's gonna die, right? We know he's dead unless he has flash. He's gonna die. He got hit by all that shit. Okay.
So basically, we thought nothing was gonna happen, but then.
No.
Happened,
It's
right?
not that you think nothing's gonna happen. It's that in this situation right here, you can't force anything, right? There's no clean force here. So what I mean by that is that if your life depended on making something happening, there's no guarantee you're gonna win, right? So guarantees where you're gonna win is like, say you see Jinx bot and it's a 4v5, so Blitz is running it down into the jungle because you know it's a 4v5. There's no guarantee here, right? Maybe like if you had a 20k gold lead, you can do something like this. Maybe if you have more people, maybe you know if they have no ultimates, you have to have a reason. But there's literally no reason that I can think of that this works. So you want to clear mid, right? You want to backping him. You want to clear mid. Always clear mid before you do something first. That's the general strategy. Is always clear before you go do something, right? Because then shit like this will happen. And then in fights, I would say save your abilities until and for maximum value, right? It's good that you guys like get the thresh, but you could have saved your arrow, right?
Wait, so I should have let him die.
Oh, this dude is dead no matter what you do, right? This dude, there's literally nowhere to save his head. He's dead, right? Jinx could have ulted him at any time; he would be dead. So you don't try and save people. You always try and win the fight. If you can win the fight, you always look to win the fight. Don't try and save, like, it's not possible to save him. If you can't think of a way to save him, then he can't be saved, right? So don't worry about that. What you want to worry about is like worry about how much value you can get from your abilities, right? Because no one is pressuring you in this fight, so you can get maximum value out of your abilities, which is auto attack. Try and get your Q stacked up, and then if you can arrow backline, you do it, right? If you can arrow backline, they're gonna die. You do it. So you could have saved ult here, but or does that make sense? Like the concept of value for abilities is like like a kind of a mechanical decision making thing in League of Legends is saving your stuff for when it's strongest. Okay, so your team's chasing. I don't know what's going on, but everyone died. But if your team like wants to do something, you should follow them. If you like call Rift Herald, this is the right call, right? If you call Rift Herald and no one's coming, you shouldn't keep doing it, right? It's good that you know you should do this, but your team is like not trying to do this, so you should be there to help them not die, I guess. I don't know.
I should actually chase them into the jungle.
No. You should spam back ping if you know it's like that, right? You spam back ping, and then you say, "Let's do Rift Herald." Like after this, there's like no more chasing to be done, right? How do you catch up? So you want to ping them back. If you think your team is doing something stupid, you ping them back, right? For sure.
Okay, so
like this blitz.
basically,
Sorry, what
like
you saying?
if they're not gonna like listen, like assume that they won't, like in the case that they won't listen to me, what's the correct thing to do here? Like ping them back, ping help on Rift Herald, and then do like let's say they do this exactly. Like what should I do now?
Then here
Just
you can
back
clear
or-
top and back, right? You can do something and then back, or you can just back because there's nothing to do, right?
Okay.
In this case, if Kha'Zix is strong, you can't clear top for whatever reason, and you just back, right? Or maybe you stay with them to like volley and then like help them escape or something. But other than that, there's like not much you can do, right? You back and go clear bot or something. You can't keep doing like this is not an option, right? Because you just Rift Herald is just gonna whoop your ass. But generally speaking, when your team is like, wow, he's hitting you from here. When your team is like, you can't win the game, then like the goal is really to improve every game, right? You don't really care about the outcome. You just work on the things you're working on, right? So if we're saying that you should work on getting the maximum value out of your abilities, you don't care if Blitz does something stupid. You're gonna try and like save your arrow for the best possible moment, right? Does that make sense? Because like you can't win every game when shit like this is going on, right? Like your Veigar 0-6, but then your Singed 6-2. So it's like basically do what you can do, and don't worry about the stuff you can't change. That's my mindset at least. Yeah, like you can't stop this Veigar from feeding. So don't worry about it, right? Just focus on your own stuff that you're working on, which is I don't know. We don't know yet, but it'll come to us. So far so good though, right? No
Thank
major
you.
mistakes. Oh, what's going on here? Oh, they're doing dragon. Nice try on the arrow, I guess. But always, what do we say here? It's like, how do we know you don't want this fight?
Wait, don't we want the fight? Because there's 3 of us and 2 of them. 4 of
Well,
us.
how do you know it's 2 of them? There's 2 of them that you can see, right? Where's the other 3 people?
Right. They could be, so basically they could be anywhere, but they can't be, right? I can't, like, they could be like all three in that dry brush,
Right. They could all be
right?
there. They could all be in range to help. So if they were all there, for example, you guys would have lost because it's 4v5. Unless you got like a really good arrow off or something. Or Blitz got a really good hook, right? Something, unless something like someone got insane value out of their abilities to make the 4v5 winnable, usually speaking, you're going to lose 4v5s, right? But it looks like Singe just like ran them down. So turns out it was good. That was a nice try on the arrow, but like always like in this case, when you see this hook, I still think you can't win this if they have everyone there, right? So basically, when in doubt, you just save arrow. Because if you landed that arrow, he was just gonna flare and walk away, right? Because you weren't gonna be in range to auto attack, right? He was just
Okay.
gonna flare and walk away. So always save it. Always save it when until there's like no doubt in your mind that it's like a winning arrow, right? Every arrow you have is like your chance to win the game. Think about it that way. If you land every arrow, like that's like if you land every arrow with super high value, you're gonna win the game. That's how you should think of it, right? Because so far, every time you miss is like now you can't do anything, right? Now you're just like, oh, I need to farm and wave clear until my arrows back up. Since you're playing Ashe, that is, right? For other champions, it would be like Kagumon W or something, right? Depends on the champion you're playing. But for Ashe specifically, you should always try and get insane value off your ult. Oh, this is awkward. You should be. Oh, you're not gonna be okay. This is awkward.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought I had flash.
Worry about like pathing, I guess. I don't know. I mean, you saw this guy, right? One thing you can do is just keep pushing bot, right? Push bot and then like back off. Basically, you want to push before you do anything, right? Push before you do anything. Clear waves before you do anything. So in this case, you didn't push before you did something, right? You just went to do something immediately. And if they die, you can do something like this if like dragon is up. I don't think you guys can do baron, right? I don't think you guys can siege mid without arrow. So you want to push bot here.
So couldn't he have just done that to me if I had pushed bot?
So the only reason he did this to you is twofold, right? One is that you're isolated, so he's doing like insane damage with Q, right? And the second thing is your teammate is not nearby. For whatever reason, your Blitzcrank went mid or whatever, and Lee Sin's bot. So if you were a bot here, your Lee Sin would be in range, right? And you would have minions around you. So he can't do that.
So if I was alone, I wouldn't push it any. Would I push it any more than I pushed
Yeah.
it here?
You can push it fast enough and run before he gets there, right? And then if Kha'Zix really forces this, you guys can see him because you have wards, and then Lee Sin will come, right? Does that make sense?
But what if Lee Sin wasn't there? Like, what if Blitzcrank had already gotten to mid and we deleted Lee Sin somehow?
Then you would see him before he gets to you, right? You can see you have all this worded, right? So say you think Kha'Zix is gonna go through like this. He's gonna go from the front. You just volley and walk away, right? And then
Okay, but
you can't like catch
so
up.
basically, the only reason I can do this is because I should have been able to know that it was safe, not because like some other reason.
Wait, say that again.
The only reason I should have pushed was because it's like warded and I have teammates. Right.
Yeah, basically because there's nothing he can do to stop you, right? If you have like if you can do something that's good and they can't stop you, you should do that, right? They have like no one alive, right? They had two people. Their bot lane is dead, so you can. And you saw him. You saw this guy like somewhere, right?
Okay.
Right. He's like you guys are like chasing, and Kha'Zix shows up, and he's like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, right? So you know he's down here, but you have wards to tell you exactly where he is, so you know that he's either in this bush or he's in tri bush or he's walking up to whatever this is, right? So you can push this, right? Like worst case scenario, if you're really scared, you can just last hit this, and that would be good, right? You can just last hit this and then push the next wave. But you always want to push past the river. Think about it that way. You always want to push past the river, and then back off. Make the minions go past the river, because that way it'll push back to you, and you can get more minions that way. But be careful about like taking like a bad path where they can just easily kill you, if that makes any sense, right? Because like if Nivea was here, if Nivea noticed you were doing this, is the same thing, right? She like walls you and then you're sad. So be careful about that.
Okay.
But yeah, you're pretty strong here. You have like 2 items. Wait, what's going on? Hold up. Back it up a bit. So you just spawn. Oh, okay. You used arrow here somewhere. So yeah, another thingy. Um, can you tell me what was wrong with this arrow?
So I thought that he was not going to run it. Like I thought he was waiting in the bush, so I just hit him in the bush, right?
But what if he jumps it, right? Are you just gonna assume that he's not going to react? And it's like super
Yeah.
unfortunate because you know at this rank he would not react if he didn't see singed. Right? He'll just get hit. But always it's better. Always basically whenever you have whenever you're in doubt, you should always save it, right? Because the thinking here is that if you arrow him, he's gonna get hooked, right? Or if you arrow him, Singe is gonna flip him, right?
Okay.
Think about it this way: if they show up, what is he gonna do? He's gonna jump away, and then you can arrow him because now he can't do anything unless he has flash, right? So that's basically you need to wait until it's guaranteed. Otherwise, it's just not consistent, right? Basically, think of it as every time you miss an arrow, you lose $5, right? Think about it that way, right? How often would you use your arrow then?
Okay.
Right? I wouldn't use it very often. I would use it only when I knew it was gonna fucking win me the game, right? So basically it's basically the biggest reason why you pick Ashe. And if you can't land it, it's like if you lose this game, it's because you didn't get enough value out of it, right? Even if your team like fed or whatever, there's like a lot of things you could have done, which is use the arrow. Okay, one thing to note is that when you want to do like we talked about, when you want to do stuff, you want to have your arrow up as Ashe. If you want to do stuff as Thresh, you want your lantern and your hook to be up, right? If you want to do stuff as anyone, you want your key abilities to be up. And then on top of that, if you're like not as strong, you want your flash as well, right? So in this case, you have neither. So that's how we know this is not gonna work, right? You don't have flash or ult, and then you don't have enough people. So don't try and make stuff happen if you're not ready to fight. If that makes any sense.
Okay.
Or if you're not prepared to fight, don't try and fight. You can say that usually speaking, dying for a tower is worth it, but why is it not worth it here?
I don't know why.
What can they do if you guys die?
Time is it? Is it? I mean, I guess they could do Baron, maybe.
Right, they can do Baron, and then you guys can't stop them, right? Veigar is like non-factor, and Blitz can't stop Baron, right? So, maybe Singe can stop Baron if he lives. Dude, this guy is fucking huge. What is going on? What is going on? This dude's just running around. Yeah, is he actually gonna kill this guy? Oh my god. What the hell am I watching? But yeah, basically, you want to figure out when you want to fight, right? Which is when you have arrow, and when you have flash, and then after that you say, okay, I'm gonna save my arrow until the best possible moment, right? You want to save your arrow until the best possible moment, and that way you will have like a huge impact on this game. But beyond that, if you can't do that, then it's like it's hard to help your team if you can't do that, right? So here I would say oh, okay, they're not doing Baron. Okay, that's good. I'll say it's good to clear this, right? And then be careful if like Kha'Zix comes out. So like what's your plan if Kha'Zix comes out, for example?
I think I had forgotten about Kha'Zix. I guess I could arrow him.
Right.
Or
You get your
flash.
Q stacks and you arrow him in the face, right? And you win. You have 4 stacks, and then you arrow him, and he's not strong enough to just one shot you through like non-isolated. Right? You just sit in your minions and you do that and you win. So basically, always like have a plan when you are expecting a fight. But if you can't come up with a plan, it's always best to have like all your abilities and your flash up. That way you're at your strongest possible, right? This is your strongest possible moment, right? That's like the next best thing. So people want to start Baron, you say no. You look to arrow and then hook, right? Oh, okay, that's awkward. They see you now.
So I saw, wait, if you rewind it a little bit, you can see Kazakh's backing, right? Because he's about to one-shot me.
Oh, over there. Right,
Yeah,
but do you know if he canceled his back or not?
right. So like, yeah. I mean, I guess it's like taking a risk, right? Like, how do you know it's just never take a risk?
It's not that you never take a risk. It's that you say, okay, maybe he backed. So what happens when you start bearing? So what happens when you start bearing?
I mean, we probably die anyway because Vigar's dead, but
It's like, okay, do you have enough damage to do it before Jinx gets here? So you say yes or no, and then you say, if Anivia comes to mess with us, what's our plan? And you say, I'm gonna arrow him in the face while I'm out of vision. Okay, so you need a pink ward on the Baron. Do you guys have a pink ward on the Baron, and do you have enough damage to do it fast enough? And this is assuming Kha'Zix didn't back, right? So the answers to those questions is not a hard yes, in my opinion, right? It's like, maybe you have enough damage. I don't think you have enough damage, right? Thresh is already here. And then you have no, oh, and then Kled. I forgot about Kled, right? We have no way to stop Kled. So that's how you know you don't want to do this, right? If you can't come up with an answer, think of it like a test, right? If you can't come up with an answer to those questions, then you can't do it, right? Otherwise, you're just gonna get punished. So I think you guys are gonna die here, right? So
yeah.
no answer. You guys didn't even start the Baron, right? And they still killed you. So there's just no answer to one of the engages, which is Kled. If you want to say what like you could have done better, it's like not mechanically, not any of that stuff. It's all about like the decision making, right? So alternatives, like if your people are randomly dying, what are you supposed to do?
Forfeit?
I mean you could forfeit. But like what you can do is like clear mid and run, right? Always clear and then do something, or push and then do something. So you say, I'm gonna clear mid and watch for the Kled engage, right? So if Kled engages, I'm gonna do this. So if Kled engages, I'm gonna have Blitz tank the engage or something like that, right? But you can't like try and fight 4v5, right? Here you guys are looking for a pick, but it's like obvious that they know you're here, right? How do we know it's obvious they know you're here?
Because of the vision plant.
Yeah, exactly. So they know this is happening, so you guys should stop doing this. So yeah, it's like she like they basically know you're doing this, so you shouldn't keep doing it, right? They're gonna walk in here and then be like, oh, we're gonna kill you guys, so you guys gotta run. So yeah, is what I'm saying like makes sense so far?
Yeah. Wait. So basically, it's like wait for Kled's ultimate, right? Like I should have known that Kled was gonna ult, and then. Wait, so like it feels like my team would just be dead. But like if I wait for all of the stuff that's gonna kill me to be used, like everyone's just gonna die.
So let's imagine that Kled ultimates, right? And your plan is you're gonna have Blitz tank it. So Blitz gets hit by the ultimate, and you're hitting Kled this whole time. So Kled's gonna die, right? Because he's space tanking you, right? And he didn't get to hit you with ultimate, so he can't kill you fast enough. So you just press Q on his face. He dismounts, you arrow him, he dies, right? So all of a sudden you trade your arrow for a person, and now the fight's 5v4 in your favor, right? So that's like one example of like, you know, how you play around Kled ult. But if you like don't play around Kled ult and he ults you from the side and he assassinates you, it's the same result except backwards. He used his ult to kill someone, right? And that's like really bad for your team. Now it's 4v5 against you guys, right? So when people talk about play around like their stuff, it means don't get caught by it, right? Always have like a way to not get caught by it, right? So say Kled ults you and your plan is you're gonna flash over the wall, right? That could be one way to do it, right? Or Kled ults you and you arrow him before he uses his bear trap shit, right? That's another way to do it. But you always want to come up with something, like, right? Does that make sense? You always want to come up with something. And then it's like it seems like kind of it seems kind of like awkward to like think about all the things that can kill you, right? Because there's so many things. But think of what you have. You have an arrow. So everyone on the enemy team except for Kled has to be worried about your arrow. So if you're watching for like the best arrow moment and then they get caught by it, that's like a huge plus for you, right? So this it's not only that they can do something, you can do something too, right? It's not just them. You're also strong. in the sense that you can threaten them. So I would say, for the most part, yeah, this is kind of scary because he can kill you, right? If you're not careful. Oh wow, he's not doing anything.
Yeah, he's only got his dash, right?
That is, I mean, that's
No,
like
no,
I
I have
thought they had
flash.
more people here, right? Your team is like dying left and right, so I would think like maybe Kha'Zix is here or something. But I would be hesitant to do something like this, right? And the reason why is, what are you trying to do here? Like, what's the
I
goal?
guess sort of trying to stop him from doing that, taking the tower.
Right. So, is it possible to stop him from taking the tower?
I mean, no, as we've learned, no.
It's like maybe,
But
like no to maybe, right? That's the general scale of things. Like from a scale of 1 to 10, it's like about a 3, right? Maybe you can stop him, but it's like high risk, low reward, right? So try to avoid like these kinds of plays where it's like
it's
very high
also like
risk and low reward, huh?
maybe I can kill him and take dragon.
But dragon's on the other side of the map, right? How can you kill him and then run to dragon? It'll be, that fight's over by the time you get there, right? So it doesn't really make too much sense. Basically the goal here is to like clear the wave, right? If you guys are giving up dragon because Blitz is dead, the goal here is to clear the wave, right? It's not to try and stop him because that's how you like bait yourself. Well, basically you want to come up with something, right? And then you have a reason for it. And your team does not want to fight dragon because it's like 3v5, 2v5. But yeah. So you're clearing. People are not happy, huh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Kled ult, and then okay, that's awkward. If you yeah. So what? So let's stop for a sec and then say, if it's a 1v1 situation, how do you beat Kled?
I guess you wait for his ultimate, then you flash it.
You can't flash his
Then,
ultimate, right? How does that?
but
He's
I,
just gonna lock onto you. So
but you
what
knock,
are you targeting with your flash? Right. What ability of his do you want to flash?
isn't the knockup? Because I mean, maybe the bear trap, but
So let's see. Let's take a look. Let's go to the wiki. This is what I do: is I literally open up their champion page. I'm like, oh, Camille, what does Camille do? I open this up and I say, okay, what do we have to be afraid of? And then the bear trap is the one we have to be afraid of, right? Because if you get hit by that, you're gonna die. Because it does a lot of damage and it slows you. So he's just gonna burst you down. So after your ults, what do you think he's gonna do?
the bear trap and then W.
Right, he's gonna press all this shit, but he's gonna bear trap right after your ults, right? So you know that the instant you get hit, you flash and start auto attacking, right? And then if you dodge a bear trap, you know you win. And then he tries to run away, so you press your arrow, right? So that's how you win 1v1 against like Kled, if that makes any sense. We know that we need to target bear trap. No matter what happens, if you get hit by this, you're dead, right? That's what we know. Or maybe you say you're gonna flash after he hits you with this, but you're gonna die if you do that. I've tried that before. So you need to make sure that you don't get hit by this, and then you win, right? So say this is a different champion. What's a different champion? Say it's like Galio, right? If Galio is coming for you, if you get hit by this, you die. What ability is this?
The
It's like Jeopardy.
taunt or
Yeah,
ultimate.
the taunt, right? So you target the taunt. You say no matter what happens, you don't get hit by the taunt. So how does he get in taunt range? He's gonna Justice Punch to your face, and he's gonna try and taunt, right? So you stay away from Justice Punch taunt range, until he can't Justice Punch you for whatever reason, and then you're like, oh, he can't get me. He literally cannot get me, right? So if you're trying to fight this, right? If you're prepared for the Kled engage, I think it's possible to win this. But as is, it's like, oh my god, he didn't get you? Holy shit, that's crazy.
He missed his bear trap.
Oh yeah, see, exactly what we said, right? He misses. If he lands bear trap, you're dead. If he misses, you win, right? So you can play this. You can literally like, yeah, basically, this is a perfect example of like he needs to land bear trap or it's not gonna work, right? So this is all stuff you can figure out before. This is like not league stuff. This is all like thinking stuff, right? So that's the kind of stuff that I think you should work on for your games. Is specifically don't fight unless you're strong, right? You don't want to fight or do anything proactive, which is like sieging towers, fighting for objectives, anything like that. You don't want to actively look for it unless you have your arrow up, you have strong items, you have flash up, right? I want you to be like super conscious of that, right? And then when you do have that stuff up, you want to look for the best possible fight you can, which is landing your arrow on someone who's going to die, right? You arrow someone who's out of position, they're going to die, right? That's what I want you to do. Every time you use an arrow, it costs $5, right? If you hit someone and you kill them, you get your money back. If you don't, then you lose $5. That's what I want you to think. So that you like make sure that these hit, right? Because that's like the only thing you can do as Ashe, right? If it looks like you can't do anything in this game, that's the reason why. It's because we haven't landed enough arrows to make an impact. And then beyond that, beyond like those two, like that big thing, those two big things, which is high values on your ability. It doesn't have to be Ashe, right? You could be. What other champions do you play?
Probably like Twitch, Caitlyn.
Okay, good examples, right? So Twitch, every time you use your ultimate, it has to kill someone, right? Or you have to do like 80% of a carry's damage, right? You need good value every time you use your ultimate as Twitch. Otherwise, you don't use it, right? Every time you use stealth, you need an assist. Otherwise, don't use stealth, etc., etc., right? So like, it doesn't matter what champion you're playing, you need good value, right? So it's like, it was impossible to land that arrow, right? There's just no way. So you have to save it. It's impossible to guarantee that arrow, I should say, right? He's just gonna like walk away or some shit. But maybe if they're like flipped, right? That he cannot move, right? He can't flash out of that because it's singed. It's a singed W. He can't move because he's rooted. So that would be like a time to use arrow, for example, or like when their Veigar stunned, or like Lee Sin kick or something like that, right? But you have to wait until that opportunity presents itself. Otherwise, it's like literally impossible, right? So yeah, I don't know what this guy's doing. Everyone's tilted. You can't help that, right? You can't help that. That's good. So you don't help that, right? That's the same thing, same concept. If you can't do something, don't do it, right? If it's like not possible to do something, don't do it. So work on only doing something proactive when you have your abilities up, right? When you have arrow, when you have twitch ult, when you have all those abilities up, that's when you look to do something, right? Push out and then do something. And then if you don't have that up, you want to wave clear until that is up, right? You want to wave clear until your opportunity arrives. And I think those are the biggest things that'll help you right now, at least, right? Make sure, like every time you have Twitch ult, right? And you use it and it doesn't like kill people, right? It doesn't do what you want it to do. That's like losing the game, kind of, right? Like when you have Ashe Arrow and it's like not being used to its fullest extent, it's like kind of throwing the game, right? We're not having enough impact on the game, basically, right? Like imagine, okay, here's a good example. Remember we saw in lane, Blitz missed hook and you couldn't do anything, right? Does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
That's the exact same thing, except you with Ashe, right? Every time you miss arrow, your team can't do anything. Every time Blitz misses hook, you guys can't do anything. Every time Veigar wastes his stun, you guys cannot engage, right? It's all the same thing. Every time Lee Sin wastes kick because he got caught, you guys cannot engage, right? It's the exact same thing, right? So every time these guys waste something, they can't do anything. Every time you guys waste something, you can't do anything. So make sure that you're not the dude wasting it. That's the one person we can control in this game of 10 people is yourself, right? So make sure that you basically play as perfect as possible. And if you can do that, then you'll win like every game pretty much, because this is like, it's really hard to not make mistakes in this game, right? So if you can minimize your mistakes, so to speak, then you'll get better as a player, right? Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
So that's what I would like focus on is making sure that when you are strong, you're saving your abilities until it's like jackpot. When you see jackpot, that's when you go. When you see 3 7s, that's like your time to go, right? You see Jinx running away. If she tries to dodge, she dies because Anivia is gonna catch up and wall her ass. Then you say, "Oh, I can arrow here because she's dead," right? That's what I want you to think. And if you have any doubts about it, you're like, "Oh, he's just gonna walk away," or "If I hit this, he might not die." Then you save it, right? You always save it. Save it. And I think that'll help you a lot from what I've seen.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So work on those things. Any questions?
Okay. I guess I have one question. So like, what do you do in a late game team fight? And like, two people can one shot you, like Katarina Riven or something, right?
Hmm.
And they can just like they usually just like one shot you if they see you on the same screen as they're on. Like, what do you do there? What do you do
So
there? Can
Katarina
you?
Riven. So let's go through this one by one. How does Riven do damage?
Uh, I don't know. She like presses her buttons and right clicks on you.
Right. But specifically, like we did with Kled. So how does Kled kill you?
I think the violent tendencies, right?
What does he need to land to kill you? That we discovered.
Uh, Bear trap.
Right. Exactly. Bear trap. So what does Riven need to land to kill you?
I mean, so this would be late game, right? So basically, her ult can like one shot you.
Uh, but her ult doesn't execute, right? Okay, basically, um, for Riven, okay, if you get hit by Q, are you dead?
Probably not.
Right. The answer is no. If you got hit by Q and you die, that would be the most broken champion in the game. You just fucking flash Q and everyone dies. No. If you get hit by stun, are you dead?
Maybe.
Yeah, you're dead.
Usually.
You get hit by a CC, you're gonna die, right? You get hit by stun, she's gonna press R in your face because you can't dodge it, right? And then if you get hit by ult, are you dead?
Right.
If you're low HP, maybe, right? So we know that we want to target the stun, right? You want to target the stun. Don't get stunned no matter what happens. And then on top of that, don't get hit by 3 Qs and an ultimate, because that's another way to die, right? So those are 2 ways to die. So if you can target her 3rd Q, right? Say you're playing like Ashe or something, right? And then you see Riven coming at you, you arrow her as she's doing her like 3rd Q or something, or maybe right before her 3rd Q, or you flash her stun, or you have a QSS for her stun, something like that. You need to target specific abilities though, right? So say you're playing, what are you playing? We're playing Twitch, right? So we come out of stealth, and Riven has not used any abilities. She flash stuns us, we die. Okay, now we know that we cannot come out of stealth unless it's out of flash W range, right?
Okay. So we actually
So
just like we don't auto attack. We basically just like exist in the game, not doing anything until we see the ability get wasted, right?
right. Or she like, or maybe you have a death stance and she can't kill you, right? You have to have something. You have to come up with something to stop her from doing whatever she's doing, right? If she presses 3 Qs on you and then stuns, that's not a surprise, right? We've seen Rivens do that. So nothing should come as a surprise. So you have to have an answer for the things that she can do, right? And then Katarina, how does Katarina kill you?
I think she has this like Q or something, Q ultimate. Like I think everything can kill me with
Right,
Katarina.
she's just gonna jump to you and then press ultimate or something, right? So wait until she does that on someone else, because you can't do anything against that unless you're playing like someone with CC that can stop her ultimate, right? You can't really do anything against that. So you basically wait. It's not your job to 1v1 these assassins, right? Whenever people ask, how do you 1v1 Rengar? The answer is you probably can't, because he's designed to kill your ass, right? So who's supposed to stop him? It's like a tank or a support. So if we're playing against like Katarina or Riven, then you wait until your support can do something, right? Or your tank can do something and catch them out, or CC them, lock them down, and then that's your chance to go in, right?
So,
But other than that, you
basically,
have to wait.
so I don't join the team fight until they both are like dead or something, or like they both wasted their abilities.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna show you some examples. I don't know if you've seen these, but I made like a Reddit post a long time ago about team fighting that might help you out. So, take a look at this and see if this makes sense, right? So we're playing Ashe, exactly what you were playing, right? And you don't do anything unless you have an answer for everything they can do, right? You don't do anything unless you have an answer. So you fight when there's like nothing they can do, right? So what was the
Okay.
most important thing that happened in this fight?
I
What
don't
was the
know.
most
I don't
important
know.
concept? Most important concept that allowed us to win this fight.
Uh, wait, I don't know. So you
So
waited for the gold card and the jacks.
exactly, right? Okay, so what kills us? You can say Lucian damage, but we're stronger than him, so that doesn't count. And then Bard stun. He's out of range. Jack's stunned. So you step away out of range. Don't get hit by that because you're dead, right? We both know that if you get hit by that, you're gonna die. And then go TF gold card. If you get hit by that, you're probably gonna die, right? So if we know to watch for those two things, then you wait until it's done, right? So he gets baited into using it, right? And then TF is like trying to walk up to us, so we walk away. He uses it on someone else, you turn around. And then since you know they can't kill you, you just right click and then you win, right? Does that make sense? It sounds easier than it is because it's easier to say than do, right? But you have to practice like patience, if that makes any sense. You have to wait. You have to wait until your opportunity arrives. It's very rare that you can show up to a fight and immediately start right clicking, right? That's like you'd be super broken at that point. Here's another example. Right. Yep. This is like these are all like a lot like super high level. Like usually this is not gonna happen, but this is what it like looks like when it goes down to like the last few moves, right? If there are less mistakes than usual, this is what's gonna happen, right? You have to wait. Like at any point, is it okay for me to hit these guys without dying?
I don't know. Like I've forgotten everything that they've used.
Right. I don't know is the correct answer. I don't know as well. I don't know. So if you don't, what happens when you don't know?
I mean, I guess you stay out of it. But that's what I do, right? And then like I feel like I'm not doing enough. Like my team just like gets aced or something because they use all their abilities and I don't know what they've used. And
you don't but that's the thing. If you don't know, if you cannot fight, right? Then you don't, right? If you cannot come up with a plan to win a fight, then you cannot fight at all, right? So that's one of the things we didn't talk about today. But like if you're in a team fight and you can't figure out what you should do, you should try and come up with a plan that'll work, right? Say you're playing Ashe and your plan is I'm gonna save my arrow until the backline appears, and then the backline appears and you use your arrow. That would be like an example of a plan, right? But if you cannot come up with something that works, then you don't do anything, because doing something when you have no idea what you're doing is like not helping you improve as a player, right? That's just like randomly fighting. That's like you see champion hit champion, randomly use abilities. That doesn't make any sense, right? So you have to wait until you can come up with something, right? So if you cannot come up with something, you're gonna lose, right? So even though it's a 1v5, even though it's a 1v4 situation, 1v5, I came up with a plan, and then if you can execute on it, you're gonna win, right? If your plan is like airtight, there's nothing they can do. Like we talked about the Kled example. Kled has no flash. He ults you. You flash his bear trap. You won no matter what happens, right? Guaranteed win. You flash a bear trap. It's the same concept, right? It's the same concept, just on a different scale, right? So there's literally nothing they can do. At what point can they stop me, right? Like no point can they stop me. So you have to wait until you can find something like that. There is a better example. Here we go. Don't worry about the build, but this is basically what team fighting looks like, right? Let me see if I can see a scoreboard. Okay, out of these champions you see right now, what kills me?
Guessing. Okay, Lucian. Wait, where are you?
Look at the enemy champions. Just say like, okay, let's start with Nami. If she lands XYZ, that it kills me. What does she land?
Bubble or ultimate?
Right, bubble or ultimate. Okay, how about Fizz?
Oh wait, ultimate?
Alright, his ultimate, and then maybe his full combo, right? His like E and then Q. Okay, maybe E and Q, right? And then definitely ultimate. What about Lucian?
I guess, wait, you're Ashe, right? So if he just like ults.
It doesn't matter if I'm Ashe. It could be any AD carry, right?
Without flash. Anything without a dash, right? You can just ult you.
It's basically, if we're talking about damage, he has to do a full combo, which includes Q. So you target his Q. He needs to land Q to kill you, right? And then Graves.
I guess he could just, maybe if he lands everything, maybe his ultimate.
Right, what's everything though? We got to be super specific, right? So his ultimate is part of it, but what's the big one?
This is the Q.
His Q, right? His Q does like massive damage. So we know from the get-go that those are the things we have to look out for when we're fighting. And the biggest ones are the bubble, the Fizz ult, and the Graves Q, right? Because those are the most important ones. And then the secondary ones are the ones we like kind of touched upon. which is like Lucian full combo, and then like Fizz maybe doing EQ, whatever. Those are like secondary because they're not as frequent. We're not gonna die to that as the other ones, right? So if you play out, if you wait for this fight, right? If you watch this fight, you have to watch for all those things, right? So Fizz doing that shit, okay, we back off, right? Okay, Brand came up to the fight. What kills us? Brand stun. Okay, so you watch out for that shit. Oh, look, Nami's throwing shit at us. Okay, we dodge that too, right? All of a sudden you win the fight because they used enough abilities on you that didn't do anything, right? Zero value abilities doesn't do anything. Oh, and we landed arrow too, right? So on top of that, you can win a fight by yourself if that makes any sense, right? In that sense, you can basically win a fight by yourself, right?
Okay. And then how do you practice this? Like, how do you practice knowing all of
Right.
this?
Exactly. How do you practice this? So before a fight breaks out, you do exactly what we just did, right? You say, oh, look at their champions. What kills me? So you quickly identify Nami bubble, Nami ult, and then Fizzle, right? Those are the big ones. Those are the things that are actually going to kill you. So then in a team fight, right? In a team fight, on top of that, you say you avoid those things, and then you say, okay, what can my ult be used for? Catch anyone. Anyone who gets hit by that is going to die, right? So the reason why we can arrow here is because there's 3 targets on this, and I'm out of range. I'm out of vision range, so they don't know it's coming. All right, you have to come up with a reason why this ult works, right? So that's my reason. I'm out of vision range, and by the time they react to it, they're gonna get hit, right? Before you might have said that, I wanted to ult Jinx up top, but the arrow was clearly in vision range, right? The arrow was traveling down for a long time, and then it socially dodged downwards, right? So that's like an example. And then once you've landed your stuff, once you're like on the lookout for your strong stuff, now you're in like dodge mode, right? You hit the closest guy until they use that crap. Okay, so I see bubble, and then this Fizz is trying to do that shit, so you walk out of range. Look how many auto attacks we did. It's not about damage. Usually, like the AD carry is not always about damage, right? So how much damage have we done so far? Like 300, 400 damage, right? 500.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe like 800 damage. That's not a lot. That's not a lot of damage. That's less damage than like this Wukong's doing probably, right? It's not about damage. It's about getting high value and dodging their abilities, right? Making sure you don't get caught and getting high value on your abilities, right? Because that will naturally lead to more damage. Like the damage comes from like you auto attack the cleanup, right? And it's just because they can't do anything about it, right? So we're just cleaning them up. That's where most of the damage comes from. The important part is making sure you land your stuff and making sure you don't get caught by their stuff, right? Let's see if there's another example.
So basically, it's like every time I die, just like take note of it and watch for it next time. Like, is that a good like instead of thinking of everything beforehand?
Yeah.
Like,
Every time you die, you figure out why you died. So here, these are the reasons why I die personally, right? The biggest one is I come up with a plan and then it wasn't good in the first place. So that's what I need to work on. And then the second most important thing is map awareness. So like when you got hit by that Clut ult and you didn't know it was coming, that's an example. Or a TP flank, that's an example. And then the rest is like a lot less important than these two because these numbers are not very high, right? So that's what I do. I make notes of like reasons why I'm like getting caught or like dying, for example. But for the team fighting stuff, that's like what you do, right? You figure out what screws you over and then you play around it, right? You have to come up with an answer to all those things. Otherwise you can't fight, right? You just sit, like the Lucian clip I showed you, right? I couldn't even figure out what was going on. So you have to play safe. Otherwise, if you try and fight, what happens? You get hit by random shit and you die and you're like, what happened, right? That doesn't help you as a player. What helps you as a player is being able to like identify these threats and then deal with them accordingly, right? And if you can do that with one ability, then you start doing with 2 abilities and then 3 abilities, and then it just builds up, right? And you play against 5 assassins, you can play around 5 abilities, right? Something like that. That's how you like work on it, if that makes any sense, right? You got to figure that out and then avoid it, right? So against Anivia, what would be the thing that kills you?
the ultimate and spike.
No. If you get hit by those abilities, it kills you. So if you get hit by like a spike, it's not necessarily gonna kill you, right?
Okay.
What's gonna like guarantee your death most of the time?
I guess the wall.
Right, the wall. The wall. You get hit. You get caught by the wall, and you have no flash. You're dead no matter what you do, right? Because her team's just gonna walk up and you're gonna die. What else? What else?
The stun thingy?
The what thingy?
The stun? The thing that
Yeah, the
stuns you?
stun. You get hit by the stun. That's you're dead. Basically any kind of CC is gonna kill you, right? Perfect, right? The wall and the stun. Those are on average. Those are the things that's gonna kill you 9 times out of 10, right? Against Thresh, what's gonna kill you?
Huck.
Right, hook, and maybe flash play, right? So if you can watch out for these specific things, then you know that they're coming, right? Then how do you play around the wall? You stay out of wall range, and then she uses Q, or you sidestep it because it's super far away, right? And then all of a sudden you win because she wasted her Q, right? You arrow her in the face. So that's how you figure out these fights. Like what you're supposed to be doing is watching out for that stuff, right? And then what about Lee Sin? If you're playing against Lee Sin, how do you die?
Kicks you? Wait, his Q's like an execute or something, right?
He's gonna insect you, right? His kick is what you have to worry about. So if you get queued nearby you, he's gonna ward hop and kick you, right? So this is all the same thing except different champions, right? It's basically identifying their win conditions and making sure that you don't get caught by it, right? And then what is Ashe's win condition? They're doing the same thing except you're on the other team. Jinx is gonna be like, okay, make sure I don't get hit by this arrow, because if I get hit by this arrow, it's gonna be a blitz hook, right? And she also has to watch out for a blitz hook, and then like what is it? Singe is gonna run at her, right? Singed flip, singed what's it called? His like root, his W, and then Lee Sin insect, right? These are all things that she has to worry about as well. So it's back and forth. Yeah, if you want to work on team fighting, that's how you do it, right? You identify your threats, and then you make sure that you land yours, and then you're good to go, right? Throw an auto attacks to the closest guy. That's what you need to do.
Okay. Okay. Great. Well, thank you very much.
Cool. Any last questions before we wrap this up?
No. Okay, can you remind me, what did you say I was supposed to work on?
So if you want to do team fighting stuff, which I didn't get to see much of, is the first thing is make sure you hold on to your abilities, right? Until you have, without a doubt in your mind, it's going to be high value, like your arrow, right? It's got to land every time. Costs $5. You got to wait until the jackpot shows up, and you're like, oh, give me this. And then for, in terms of like when to do, like what should I be doing right now? The answer is, if you have your abilities up and your team is nearby, you can look to do something, which is like push first and then do something, right? So if you have arrow up and your flash up, you push and then you do something. If you're on the defensive, right, you don't have that up, or your team is dying, you wave clear and then you wait, right? That's the basic answer. That's what you should work on. And then out of that, I think those are the two biggest things. Is holding on to your abilities until it's like, you know for sure it's gonna kill someone, right? You know for sure it's really good value, and then making sure you know what you want to do, right? And then the reason is because, oh, I don't have Volt, or I do have Volt, right? I think those two things are the biggest things you can work on right now.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
No problem. Let me know how things go, and as always, if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord. I'm always online.
All right. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. And good luck.
Thanks.